Briggs on the Garden City radio station, of our radio station, our Port Harcourt radio station, our River State radio station, the station of groove and style, style and groove, whichever way it falls for you. Today is Wednesday, the 9th of September, 2020, and our program is on for 1 hour. Last week, I think we lost a few minutes, but sometimes we also overshoot a few minutes, so it really doesn't matter. It's technology. It's not face to face, and these things will happen. Okay, I hope you've had a good week and that everything is all right with you, wherever you are listening from across the world. We're going to talk as usual about things that have happened, have taken place, things that have been in the news over the past 1 week that concerns us in Nigeria, concerns us in the Niger Delta, concerns us in Rivers State. The most important thing right now, I believe, for us is the issue of the water bill, the water resources bill of 2020. If you are in any of the 774 local government areas, if you are in any of the 36 states, if you are one of the ethnic nationalities that make up Nigeria, we're told where anything from 350 or 250 to almost 400 different ethnic nationalities. Now, it doesn't matter whether you're 10 people as a nationality or you are 10 million people. What is important is that your nationality is your identity. Whether you are a Yoruba man, or you are a Niger person, you are a Shakiri person, whoever you are, an Idoma man, you are who you are. So if you're any one of the ethnic nationalities in Nigeria, I'm talking to you, and I hope that you will find it necessary to listen. But it's your right to listen. It's also your right not to listen. But definitely, it is also my right to talk. This water resource bill, the content of it, what the government of today, the president who is putting the bill forward again. The last time this bill came up was in 20, and it was shut down in the National Assembly, and the bill is back up again. It came back in July this year. Now, what I have noticed as an indigene of the Ijaw ethnic nationality of Rivers State in the Niger Delta in Nigeria, is very simply this, that this bill, no matter the grammar that is backing it, no matter the sections and the whatever of the Constitution that it is raising, you and I, the ordinary citizens of a section of Nigeria, that this bill intends to rob in broad daylight, is purely and simply robbing the people of the Middle Belt, robbing the people of the South who have water. Some of us live on water. Some of us, our Our livelihood is fishing, farming. This bill intends to own the water that God, in his divine reasoning, put us as owners of these places. God put us there. Now, if the federal government, in its plan to own the water as it claims that it belongs to it, and this bill goes through, it has gone through first reading, second reading, really and truly, what it intends to do is to give our water, our land to strangers. That is the truth. The reason it is determined, the government is determined to take this bill and to create this bill and to make sure that it passes is simply another way of establishing RUGA that has been resisted anytime it is proposed. It intends to rob fishermen and women, farmers, of their land, of their rights. Life depends on water. We are in places where there is water. There is no reason whatsoever in this day and age, if it is not pure wickedness and the determination and the desire to exterminate, to get rid of a certain group of people. Water is very much like air. Water is very much like food. Our bodies are made up extensively of a large percentage of water. I suppose if they want, they can also legislate a bill for the water that is in our bodies. The governors of the affected states, the lawmakers, the senators of the affected states, the House of Representatives, the state assembly members, the local government chairman, everybody owe us a responsibility. That is why you come to us every so often, whether it's 4 years or whatever years the elections run, at whatever time. These are the reasons why you come to us. You claim that we have voted for you and that you are representing us. And yet, we have representatives who are sitting down amongst other representatives outside of southern Nigeria and are watching what is going to play out in the very near future, which is that the water belongs to the federal government, and whatever meters they are proposing into where the water is. So basically, therefore, Abonima is going to belong to the federal government. And so if Abonima belongs to the federal government, then it means that the federal government can decide, just as the federal government have proposed, that it can remove board members of churches by the bill, the Kama bill that it has passed. It can take water from us. So, like I said on another program yesterday, if I dig a well, I have a borehole at the back of my house in where I live in Port Harcourt. So I suppose that water actually belongs to the federal government. And so if it belongs to the federal government can actually charge me for the for the water that I have dug for myself, just like in the Bible, where the children of Israel dug a well, and it was taken away, and then another well was dug, it was taken away, another well was dug, it was taken away. It's the same scenario. It's the same scenario that is playing out today, 2,000 years after the Bible was written, or we're told that that story took place in the days of the Israelites. So we have traditional rulers. We have chiefs, high chiefs, low chiefs, all over the place. And yet, the governors are not speaking. The senators are not speaking. How is it that this bill is back on the floor and nothing is being done about it? And we're being taunted and being told that it is a done deal, that whether we like it or not. I'm not here to go, I'm not a politician, I'm not a representative. I'm here to speak on my behalf. Hopefully, you will find some of the things, if not all of the things, some of the things I'm saying reasonable enough to join me and say that this bill is unacceptable. It's unacceptable to the people of Rivers State, of Niger Delta, anybody that is touched by the water. It is unacceptable to us. So much is going on in Nigeria that when there is information, whether it is false information or it is not false information, the responsibility of clarifying it is the government. Yes, it's the government. Because it is what the government tells the people that the people want or are supposed to believe, because they are representing us. So if we hear that there is a plan for strangers to come into our states, our region, our communities, and take over our land and force themselves on us, their culture, whatever, on us. If I hear such a news, it's my choice to believe or not to believe. But that choice will be based on the realities that I see around me. If that is possible, if I'm sensible, if that is possible, the realities around me will make it so. I will be able to judge for myself if this is true or not true. Now, it is the final responsibility based on what I have accepted for the politicians to confirm whether it is true or not true. That's the responsibility of our politicians. Now, have they taken up this responsibility? Bonny, the Sombrero River, the mouth of the Atlantic, there are people that live there. So when we hear that there is a plan for people to come in from that area and invade the South, why will I not believe it? That's how the Portuguese and the British came. That's how they came. That's how the colonizers came. They didn't come through air or land. They came through the sea. So if they are coming through the sea into the riverine area, as they did in the past, why will I not believe it? So now, if I am told, and it is very clear, the government have accepted it, that the borders are porous and non-Nigerians are coming in through Niger, through Mali, through all of these places. Strangers are coming in into Nigeria. And Nigeria either lacks the capacity and or the willingness or both to stop them. So that is very clear now. So obviously it is clear that they are wherever they want to be. So why should I not believe that one day, God forbid, that they will come through the waters? They will come through the sea. Is that the reason why the government want to own the waters and the sea? Or is it to starve us? What is the purpose of the federal government after it has worked against the people with the 1999 constitution, still wants to infuse everything that will take away our very lives from us through this bill and so many other bills. And yet the bills, if any, when our people are brave enough to present any bill, it can never pass. And yet we find ourselves in a situation where bills that are working against us are passed just like that. Whether it is bills against Christianity or Christians, or whether it is a bill against accessing our resources while others access their own, or whether it is a bill or to pipe our gas and our crude oil outside of the Niger Delta region. All of these things are happening. And the most surprising thing after the position inability or unwillingness of our representatives to get up and speak on our behalf, there are people, youths in their 20s, whom this will affect if nothing is done, and their children. Or are you preparing to hand over a war or a part of suffering, God forbid, to your children? People in their 20s that are from this riverine area, that are from river states and the Briggs, all the other Briggs states. Are you saying that because you belong to a political party, therefore you don't see what is wrong in what is happening? You don't see what is wrong with this bill? That you do not know that this is unacceptable, and that it can never mean something good? Let me ask this question, because as the convener of the Niger Delta Self-Determination Movement, I have always believed that if you disagree with something, it is your right to take a position, whatever that position is, as long as it is not illegal and it is not deadly. Now, why can't the senators of the southern states, because the Senate is divided into states and regions and north and south. Why can't these representatives get together and stage a protest and walk out of the National Assembly? Since they are not allowed, since their hands have been tied and their mouths have been tied and they don't have pen to write and to come up with bills that is in our favor, are their feet also tied? Can't they walk out? I'm just asking. If they walk out, what will happen? All the monies that they are collecting under all the guises that they are collecting them is coming from the Niger Delta. It's coming from their states. Why can't they walk out one day? I'm not a politician. That's why I'm asking. Why can't they walk out? Somebody has to be able at some point to be courageous, brave, man and woman enough, a human being enough to speak up and say, this is not acceptable and we're not going to accept it. Why can't they do it? Is it against the law? If they can cross carpets, if governors can leave one political party on whose platform they won election, can get up, or senators can get up and leave that party and join another party, why can't they just take time off and walk out of the assembly? Other countries have done it. What are we made of, really? People from the South, there are places in some of the historical books, the records that have been kept when the colonial masters, as they called them, came, the colonialists came. Some of the notes they made about the people of the southern part of Nigeria were the facts that, one, that these are very intelligent, very defiant, very strong, powerful people that they met in these areas. They were referring to Yorubas, they were referring to Igbos, they were referring to Ikore people, they were referring to Ogoni people, they were referring to Ijo people, Ishakiri people, Ibibio people, Efik people. Those are the people that they were referring to in those notes that they made, in those reports that they wrote. They were referring to our ancestors. At what point did we become so diluted, so weakened, that we cannot remember who we are? In 1956, I remember a community, an ethnic nationality, a people that I was introduced to as my people, the Ijos. And I saw a proud people. I saw people that were strong. I saw people that fought wars with machetes and then guns. I lived to see a man, Adaka Boro, declare a war, not because he knew he was ever going to win it with no guns. They had to raid police stations. in Degema and other places to steal guns, according to the story. It lasted 12 days. He never, Adakaboro, my hero, he never thought that he would win that war. But he said, we will show them today what we feel about injustice. We will show them today what we feel about injustice. We will resist them. In effect, he was saying that they were draining, they were taking from the veins of the Niger Delta people their resources. It's not me that said it, it's Adakaboro that said it. Where is Adakaboroism? Where are the people who claim that they are doing Adakaboro? You're not doing Adakaboro if you're not following Adakaboro's thinking. If you're not following Adakaboro's thinking, stop using Adakaboro's name. Even stop dishonoring him by claiming to be celebrating Adakaboro. What are you celebrating? Adakaboro refused to be a slave. What are you celebrating? Adakaboro stood up and said, you cannot continue to take my resources from my land, impoverish me. That's who Adakaboro was and is. So what are you celebrating? I don't want to call other people's heroes. Let them not tell me to keep quiet. So let me just stay with my own hero. But there are other people that have their own heroes. What are you doing? You're celebrating heroes. Which heroes? They're turning in their graves. People that were hung. There are job people that died. People like Sonyo Pande. People that died. And so many, many, many other people. Old, that fought intellectually before independence. And then Adakaboro that died eventually because of what was in his heart, because they knew, war or no war, that one day, if this man, Adakaboro, can rise up with no arms before the Civil War and take a whole federal government might on because of his land, because of his resources, that now that he has joined the army after the war, how do you stop him? Those were the thinking behind Adakaboro's death. Me, I think a lot, and when I think, I hold on to it. People don't think anymore. People don't think. In the olden days, I used to see elders in the evening, men, women, in their little groups. They would sit down and discuss. They were discussing the community, how to forward the community. These days, what our people discuss is how to lie against each other, how to steal, how to allow strangers and join strangers to loot our collective resources and call it one Nigeria. It's horrific. What is about to happen is horrific. It is clear. It is glaring. Look at what's happening in Southern Kaduna. They killed so many people. The broad daylight. Broad daylight. The world, Christian world outside of Nigeria was shouting. Our own section of Christianity. A few people were talking, yes, and yet people will attack them, yes, but they're not it. The voice against the killing of Christians in Nigeria is not loud enough. From Nigeria, from inside Nigeria, from southern Nigeria, from the middle belt, from all over. It is not loud enough. That's why the world is not hearing our voices. We're not loud enough. We're whispering. People are whispering. A few days ago, somebody called me and said, are you a pastor? Why are you always, yes, you're a Christian. We're all Christians. Why are you always talking for? Oh, so I should not talk about my creator. Who shall I talk about? I should not speak as a Christian. What shall I then speak as? Tell me. I believe in God. He is the uncreated creator. He created me. He knew me before I was formed in my mother's womb. If I don't talk about him, who should I talk about? You? You can imagine. That was a Christian who was asking me that there is a difference between Christianity and politicians. So in that case, Christians should not go into politics. Now all the people that are Christians in politics come out, so that the children of Satan will completely take over the politics. You can see your reasoning. Look at how you reason. A Christian who is a politician was telling me this. So because of politics, you can't fear God. You have no value. Did you create yourself? Did you know when you were conceived? Were you aware? Were you aware in your mother's womb? Is God, the uncreated creator. He is who he is. The great I am, that's who he is. And then a fellow Christian is calling me to ask me, why am I talking about what is happening to Christians? Why can't pastors talk? So pastors alone are the ones that will talk. So me, if I'm in danger now, somebody is coming to kill me because they want me to leave my religion. Were you people not in this country when Boko Haram made a statement to say that if Jonathan wants to be the president of Nigeria, he should change his religion? Are you people deaf? Were you not in this country? Were you not in this country? In this Nigeria? We are in the organization of Islamic Commission, Islamic Union, Islamic anything. We are in that organization. Are all of us Muslims? Why should Nigeria be in that group? Why should we be in that group? I'm a Christian. You people can't see anything wrong in that because you're politicians. You can't talk. Because you're politicians, you can't talk. You're sitting down there, they're changing the narrative. Gowon is not one of my favorite persons. I respect him, he's an elder, but he's not one of my favorite persons. But he's not the one that took Nigeria into the organization of Islamic countries. He's not. It was Babangida. And yet, politicians are sitting down there, allowing these false narratives to go. And when Christian organizations get up and say, no, you can't say this, the very politicians are the ones now that are differentiating themselves from their religion because of politics. God is seeing all of us. That one. Tomorrow, you people will go, you politicians, you go and do Thanksgiving in church, from one church to the other, from one place to the one arm of the church to the other. You will be doing Thanksgiving. You will say God gave you power. You will say God called you. So if you want to separate Christianity from religion, why did God call you? Why did God call you then? If you say God called you to enter politics, and then when you got there, he now told you to now talk about the God, not to talk about the God that called you. So why did he call you? Yes. Why? So if you say that you're going to separate politics from Christianity, there are people who are not separating their religion from politics. I hope you're aware of that. I hope you're aware of that. Politicians, governors, I love my community. I love my ethnic nationality. I love Kalabari people. I love River State people, all the people of River State, of all the different ethnic nationalities. I love them. I love Niger Delta region. I love humanity in this order. But let me tell you, if you don't love yourself, nobody is going to love you. Nobody is going to love you. It is very clear, it is glaring what is happening in this country. It has been, it is already, it is standing, it is so clear. And yet, politicians are thinking about the next election. What election? Is it not people who are alive that will vote for you? Is it not people who are alive that will run for election? Is it dead people that run for election? Or is it dead people? Okay, in Nigeria, dead people do vote. Dead people do vote. That's a country. But you can see clearly that there is not going to be any. Who told you there is going to be 2023 election? You can see what's happening in Edo. That's a glaring sign for you. And that's probably the last election in this country. Look, I believe and I stand firmly on whom I am. When I wake up in the morning, unless God Almighty changes me, because I'm not going to change myself. So unless the person who made me what I am changes me, I will still wake up like this tomorrow. That means I will still wake up an Abonima indigene. I will still wake up a Calabari daughter. I will still wake up a River State daughter, an Ijo daughter, a Niger Delta daughter. That's how I wake up, in that order. I will still be who I am. My father's daughter, my mother's daughter. I will still be who I am. My children will still be who they are. They will not belong to another person. They will continue to belong to me. So if that then be the case, can't you see? Am I a politician? No. Then why am I talking? I'm talking because what I'm saying has to be said. I want to be counted. I want to be counted. I want to be remembered for the right things that I said, for the truth that I stood up for. At the end of the day, if you're standing on the road, if you're standing in front of your house, right now as I'm talking, as you're listening, if you are standing in front of your house and you see a vehicle coming directly at you, you know that that vehicle is heading for where you're standing. Are you going to be standing there to say, it's my house? Is that what you will do? No, you will not. You will jump out of the way. Yes. Why will you jump out of the way? Because you don't want the vehicle to hit you. Why? Because if the chances are, if the vehicle hits you, it will hurt you, it will maim you, or at worst, the person, God forbid, the enemy will die, not you. But you are still able to discuss politically and not take this scenario into account and not be able to see this scenario that I have just painted. So if you will save yourself, then when it reaches a point, and it is very close, it is not a matter of God forbid. Yes, God forbid. But what is God forbidding? God will forbid what you don't want. If we're saying that God should forbid, yes, God will forbid. Then what is he forbidding? You have to tell him what is forbidding. You yourself have to know what God is forbidding. What is God forbid? You just sit down and say, God forbid. and you carry on, you see all these dangers around you, and you just say, God forbid. The danger is already you can see it, then you say, God forbid. How much more, how long will this foolishness last? How long will this foolishness last? Turkey was a Christian country before now. But now the tables are turned. It's the other way around. Churches don't exist in Turkey. I think the last one, I don't know what they've done with it, was in the news recently. So whether you're a Christian, you're not a Christian, the plan is against everything and just for one thing. That's the plan. Those who have ears for parable will hear it. The plan is against everything and for one thing. And people will say, God forbid. And people will say, they're no fit. How they no fit? What are you doing that they will not fit? It's already there. Other people have been through it. And they are telling their sorrowful tales till today. We saw it coming years ago. But politicians said no, they want to do politics. They were blind, they were deaf. In 2012, 2011, I was asked on a program in a television station in Lagos that what do I think is the real problem? What are the problems of Nigeria? The first thing I said is religion. It was the government of the day that countered it and said, no, the problem of Nigeria is not religion. Today, where is it? Today, what's the problem of Nigeria? What are we talking about today? My brothers and my sisters, there is nobody, including me and you, that will choose to die just like that. Everybody wants to be alive. Everybody wants to be alive. That's why if you're sick, you look to take a tablet that will make you well, whether it is native medicine you use, or whether it is chemical, doctors you go to, or to use native medicine, or whatever the case may be. You do these things because you want to stay alive, because you want to get well. Why do you want to get well? You want to get well because you want to stay alive. It's the same thing here. When it gets to a point, people will begin to save themselves. At that point, a few will be saved. A lot will be in danger. Can we not learn what happened to the Jews? How many people died? Can we not learn what happened during the Civil War? How many millions of people died? Unfortunately, the majority, a very high number, millions and millions of the people that died in the Nigerian war were from a particular ethnic nationality, the Igbos. A few other people from the old Eastern region died. But mainly, if you want to tell yourself the truth, that war was against a particular ethnic nationality. And what was the reason? The same thing we're talking about today, injustice. It's not fair. It's not fair. If we cannot live together, is it by force? not by force. It's not by force. But must we? What is the reason? I don't understand. Truly, I don't understand the inability of any human being, whether you are a fisherman, or whether you're a son, or whether you are a businessman, a billionaire, through whatever means. I don't understand the pretense that we actually don't like our lives. Is it that the people in southern Nigeria, is it that the people in the Niger Delta, is it that the people of the riverine area, of the inland, is it that their forefathers were able to fight wars, to maintain the spaces that we have today? My people moved from Elem Kalabari to Abonima, to some went to Buguma, some went to Bakana, some went to Tombia. From a particular place. We're still the same people, but with different names. But we're still Kalabari people. But we moved. We fought wars. Our forefathers fought wars. Even brethren fought wars, just for the sake of surviving. Nembe people fought Kalabari people fought Boni people fought Kalabari, Wakreke people fought Kalabari. We're the same Ijaw people. Why this wars? It boiled down to survival. It boiled down to survival of a family, a name. And then eventually we were able to sort our problems out. We still remain the Ijaw people. But we had differences which at the end of the day sadly led to wars. Maybe that was the lesson that we learned. So now, are we saying that today, the people today, the youths today, cannot see, even if the youths cannot see because they didn't come to meet and all they know is what they are experiencing today, there is also that thinking. There are people my age that saw pre-independence, people that were born in the early 50s, that knew what Nigeria was like. Your community, I knew what my community was like. When I was 4 years old, I knew. Before independence, I knew what my community was like. Today, my community cannot, the chiefs cannot rise up and speak for us. Is it just to answer the title? Our forefathers fought for us that we can have Abonima. We didn't fight that war. Our forefathers fought. Your forefathers fought for you to have wherever you are today, whether you're Ikure, whatever you are, whether you're Ogoni. Somebody maintains that place for you. It is like my people will say, Omne Bosake, at your leg time. Omne Bosake Bobo. And then Kalabari Fawadi. Because you're doing politics. Because you're in politics. It is during your time that your children or their grandchildren will not know who they are. It's a shame. Our forefathers died to give us this heritage. We're wasting their lives, their death, their capacity, their willingness to protect what they own and what they died for. We're wasting it. We're making nonsense of it because we're too weak to protect it. And we're too weak to hand it over intact to our children. All what we're doing is preparing our children for the unthinkable, God forbid. On that note, I thank you very much for tuning in. And it's 10:58. I thank you. I've spoken the truth as I know it, as I see it, as I feel it, as I understand it. This is my truth based on what is going on in Nigeria. Thank you very much. God bless you. And next week.